Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special Thursday night edition of the Danger Zone. I am your host, Ken Moore, rocking solo tonight. Tonight, we'll talk about the Titans' new addition to the secondary, Jamal Adams. We'll take a look at the conditions down here in H-Town with Hurricane Beryl, and also a look at the latest addition to the U.S. Olympic team. We'll talk about all that and more coming up next on the Danger Zone.
You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone.
Good Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening to everyone. How are you doing? Thank you guys for joining the show. I am your host, Ken Moore. Thank you all for a special Thursday night edition of the show coming to you live from H-Town, Houston, Texas, where we have had a lot going on in the city over the past 72 hours or so. Still more than 1 million people without power due to Hurricane Beryl that came through on Sunday night, early Monday morning. A lot of people without power. That's why I'm rocking solo tonight. My partner, Floyd B., could not be with us as he and his family are still one of many still without power tonight. So shout out to everyone who is going through the struggle here in Houston tonight. And shout out to my boy Floyd B, man. Hope you guys get power very, very, very soon because the heat in Houston has been brutal these past few days. But of course, my boy is chiming in. So we definitely hope you and the family get some power soon, my brother. And hopefully you can join us on Sunday night. But a lot to discuss here on the show this evening. First and foremost, we definitely want you guys to be a participant in the show tonight. If you are new to the show, if you haven't been on the show in a while, this is our first Tennessee Titans content really since minicamp. So over the past few weeks, we've been talking a lot of NBA, a lot of WNBA basketball. But tonight we will focus heavily on the Tennessee Titans as they make a huge signing today by bringing in safety Jamal Adams, who spent the past several seasons with the Seattle Seahawks after beginning his career with the New York Jets. A lot of kind of back and forth on social media today. Some people happy about the move, some people not so happy about the move. So we definitely want to get you guys comments and thoughts on what you think about the signing of Jamal Adams here this afternoon for the Tennessee Titans. So how can you participate in the show? Well, you know the drill. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. If you are watching on Facebook or on Twitter X, you can definitely hop over to the YouTube version of the show where you can leave your comments. We definitely want you guys to be heavily involved in the show here tonight and rock with me because I'm rocking solo here tonight for the next 30 to 45 minutes to discuss this topic and whatever else may be on you guys' mind about the Jamal Adams signing this afternoon. Now, for me personally, I like the signing. I know a lot of people point to the injury history of Jamal Adams, and of course, he had that devastating leg injury in 2022, his second season with the Seattle Seahawks, where he tore the tendon right above his kneecap, and I can only imagine the pain and the anguish that he went through. And he was on the OTP YouTube show with Titans play-by-play guy Mike Keith this afternoon and did a full interview. If you have not seen that interview, we definitely urge you guys to go check that out. And you can hear Jamal Adams in his own words kind of describe what it's been like the past couple of seasons trying to come back from that devastating injury. And if you've never played the game of football or any physical contact sport, it's hard to describe what these players go through, not only on a week-to-week basis, but on a year-to-year basis, trying to play through injury, trying to come back from injury, and trying to perform at the same level that they did prior to the injury. It is a hard, rigorous task that these athletes go through. And I've never played at the NFL level, but I did play at the collegiate level. And I've never suffered a major injury, thank goodness. But I've seen a lot of teammates go through that. I've covered the NFL, I've covered college football, and I know what these players go through, and I see what they go through on a week-to-week and a day-to-day basis to try to come back from injuries. And it's easy to label a person injury prone. Well, for Jamal Adams, this was his only major injury of his career. His first 3 seasons in the NFL, he only missed 2 games. The first 2 seasons in Seattle, he missed a total of 8 games for each season. He played 12 games in 2020. He also played 12 games in 2021. So when he got hurt at the beginning of the 2022 season and the first game of the season, that was the first major injury of his career that kept him out an extended bit of time. He talked about today in the interview with Mike Keith how he could not even walk for 6 months. He was in a cast for 6 months. He could not go to the bathroom by himself. He could not shower by himself. So just imagine that as a world-class athlete, an all-pro football player, and then not only are you going through the physical anguish of that, but then you're also going through the mental aspect of that. And I can relate to that somewhat because after my playing days, you know, I was coaching AAU basketball for my son when he was in high school. And during a game, our team hit a game-winning shot. I jump up so high, I'm so excited. I come down and I blow my Achilles out. I'm a grown man at this point, but I'm still very active. I'm playing basketball. I'm going to the gym. I'm working out. I'm doing all these things. And then all of a sudden, in an instance, I'm in a situation where I can't walk. I can't drive. You know, I can't really do any of the things that I'm accustomed to doing. So I feel where, you know, the mental aspect that Jamal Adams has gone through the last 2 years and suffering from that injury. And then when you get all of the fans saying, well, this guy now he's injury prone because he comes back last year. He only plays 9 games. He's still not fully healthy, but he's out on the field. He's trying to give it his all. But then you have the fans, you have the media questioning, his heart, his desire. He got paid the big money. He should be on the field. Well, it would have been very easy for Jamal Adams to shut it down for both years, the last 2 years in Seattle. It would have been very easy for him to do that. But he tried to gut it out. He tried to play, but he didn't play to the same level, nowhere even near the level that he was accustomed to playing at, because he still had not fully recovered from that injury. So you hope 2 years later that he is fully recovered from that injury. And again, this is a guy that's only 28 years old. We're not talking about a 31, 32, 33-year-old safety. We're talking about a guy that would normally be in the prime of his career at 28 years old, and the Titans get a chance to sign him off the street. So I think it is a win-win for the Titans. My God, Over Chicken in the house, thanks for joining the show, buddy. He says he doesn't like the signing. He lives in Washington State. He saw him play with the Hawks. Most Seahawk fans never liked him, and he sees why. Well, Over Chicken, I will say this, and Jake, we'll get to your comment here in just a moment. The expectations, right, in Seattle were very high because of what Seattle gave up for him. I believe Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, in Over Chicken, you can correct me, I believe they gave up 2 first-round picks for a safety. Now, that's something that most organizations don't do. They don't put that type of value at the safety position. But we all know Pete Carroll was a defensive-minded coach, and he thought about defense more than offense, and he wanted as many ball players, and he sacrificed part of the Seattle future for Jamal Adams. It's not Jamal Adams' fault that Pete Carroll made the decision to trade 2 first-round picks for him, and then they made him the highest paid safety in the league. That's not a Jamal Adams problem. That was a Seattle Seahawks problem for what they invested in him. And he provided them, I believe, 2020, his first season there, led the league with 9.5 sacks, went to the Pro Bowl, was an All-Pro. So he's made 3 consecutive All-Pros, 2018, 2019 with the Jets, came in 2020 with Seattle and did the exact same thing. Was All-Pro and made the Pro Bowl. Exact same production. Actually, his production increased because he went from 2 sacks in his rookie year, and that steadily increased every year. 3.5 sacks his second year, 6.5 sacks his third year with the Jets, 9.5 sacks his first year with Seattle. So if not for the injury, I believe his production would have continued to plateau at worst and maybe even continue to increase. So those are my thoughts on Jamal Adams' stay in Seattle. I think you have to look at the expectation. Now, the expectation coming into Tennessee is completely different than what it was in Seattle 4 years ago. He's a free agent. He's not demanding a big contract. The Titans don't have to give up any equity to get him. It's a high reward, low risk move. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, you haven't lost anything but a camp body and a roster spot. Over Chicken said, yeah, it was 2 first and a third round pick. I forgot about the worth we gave up. That does make it a little bit better on the situation. So yeah, I mean, just think about the expectations then, and now the expectations of him coming in. So I like the signing, but I definitely respect the opinion of those who are somewhat critical of the signing. Jake 24 Titan, welcome to the house, my brother. It depends on what the Titans are asking of him. I doubt he's being brought in to be a starter. I would feel better having a guy that knows the defense rotating in versus a rookie or a second-year guy. And that is an excellent point, Jake, because part of the reason that Jamal Adams is now a Tennessee Titan is because of his relationship with the defensive coordinator who he played with the Jets that made him an all-pro, and Denard Wilson. Wilson, the Titans defensive coordinator now, was the Jets defensive back coach in 2018 and 2019 when Jamal Adams first burst onto the scene. And remember, this is a kid that was the number 6 overall pick in the draft in the first round out of LSU in 2017. So with that there, that shows you that he comes in with a high pedigree. He didn't come in and lay down just because he was a first round pick. He came in and worked his ass off with the Jets to become an all-pro and to earn that big contract that the Seattle Seahawks gave him. And with him being very familiar with Denard Wilson and the system that the Titans are going to run, I think that's going to make him a very good fit. Now, whether he starts or not, that's going to depend on his production. He's going to be in a battle probably with Elijah Molden for that other safety position. If someone else emerges throughout training camp, that position is going to be wide open. So, we could see Jamal Adams, if he's the old Jamal Adams and he's fully healthy, he could very well be the Titans starting safety on week 1. Reggie in the house, I think it will help give that defense something to really pay attention to. And now my dogs are going crazy in the background because someone just came to the door. So I apologize for the noise in the background, guys. Hold on one moment for me. All right, guys, sorry about that. Had a little puppy chow wow disturbance downstairs in the background. But Reggie, yeah, he says I think it will help give that defense something to really pay attention to. And if he can come off the edge and apply the same type of pressure from that safety position, and if you watch the Baltimore Ravens last year with what Wilson liked to do with his safeties, he'd like to move them around. He'd like to rush the safeties at times as well. So I think that's going to really bring a different element to the Tennessee Titans on defense. My boy Floyd said garbage. See, man, God don't like ugly, man. That's why you're not on the show tonight. We're not going to have all that negativity in the house, man. We're not going to have all that negativity. Over chicken. Does that mean we're done with Justin Simmons, or do you think we'll give him a shot? I personally think that Justin Simmons' price tag is probably going to be more than what the Tennessee Titans want to spend at this point. I think they're two completely different. Even though they play the same position, their style of play is completely different. Adams is a down in the box type safety that's going to play tough against the run, that's going to blitz off the edge, where Justin Simmons throughout his career in Denver has been more of an over-the-top safety. I believe he has 30 interceptions in his career compared to Jamal Adams, who only has 4 interceptions in his career. So those numbers speak to the different types of ball players that these two guys are. So even though they're both listed as safeties, Justin Simmons is more of a guy that's going to play in coverage, that's going to play over the top, kind of your ball hawking type safety, where Jamal Adams is going to be your down in the box, that eighth man in the box to help stop the run, that blitzer off the edge in blitz packages that's going to try to get after the quarterback. So, no, I do not see the Titans going after Justin Simmons at this point. In my assumption, they probably already knocked on the Justin Simmons door, and probably the offer that they were offering to him probably didn't meet what his asking price was. And then, of course, when you have the fit with Wilson, who already has a fit with Jamal Adams, I think that just kind of makes that pairing more of a symmetry in that secondary room, because Jamal Adams will be able to convey to the other guys on that side of the ball what Coach Wilson wants to employ on defense. So I think that is done with as far as Justin Simmons coming over to the Titans. So personally, I'm excited about the signing. I think it's a huge win for Tennessee. As I mentioned, it's low risk, high reward, and I think it's a win-win for everybody involved. My boy Floyd say, please don't drink the Kool-Aid. He's just a Texans hater, and he doesn't want to see anything good that comes the Titans' way. So definitely enjoyed you guys' comments on that. If you guys have any other comments on any of the other offseason moves, of course, training camp will be beginning in about 2 weeks. I believe July 23rd is when training camp will open for the rookies and the veterans. I think they both report on the same day. So it'll be interesting to see how the Titans look coming out in training camp, and then, of course, going through preseason and getting into the regular season opener against the Chicago Bears, where ironically the Titans will be facing their former All-Pro safety in Kevin Byard, who, of course, signed with the Chicago Bears earlier this offseason. So I'm not sure if the Titans will have any other big moves. Any big moves coming up. I believe that would probably be the last big name that the Titans have on their radar. Of course, they always have guys in their back pocket in case of injury. They'll have their list of guys that they want to call. Hopefully, we won't have any injuries this preseason like we've had in the last couple of regimes with the Mike Vrabel coach team, who led the league in injuries in games missed over the last 3 years. So again, I definitely understand everyone's frustration. Not everyone's frustration, but everyone's concern about the signing of Jamal Adams. But I think all in all, it's going to be a good signing for the Tennessee Titans. Overtaking MLB aside, I'm a Mariners fan. I know your Astros are creeping up. Yes, sir. We had a big segment on that the other night. Over chicken, me and my boy Floyd. Of course, the Astros got off to a very, very slow start this season, but they have gotten hot as of late. The bats have finally woken up, and I believe they're 2 games behind Seattle, 1 in the loss column. So it's going to be a very interesting race down the stretch. The Astros have the Texas Rangers coming in this weekend before the All-Star break. And then I believe we travel out to Seattle next weekend for a 3-game set with the Seattle Mariners. Overchicken, are you going to that series? That'll be that should be a fun one to go to if you're a baseball fan. Now, I do want to touch a little bit, on the situation here in Houston that a lot of people are dealing with. And, of course, we'll still take we're going to get back into some sports comments here. I definitely want to touch on the U.S. Olympic team here in just a moment. And if you guys have any more comments or questions, please do so in the comments section, and make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. But the city of Houston right now is definitely in the danger zone in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl.
Punk, you're in the danger zone.
Yes, our city is definitely in the danger zone. I believe we started off on Monday with about 2.5 million people without power. And here we are almost 72 hours later, and we still have about 1 million people without power here in the Houston area, thanks to our energy provider, CenterPoint, for whatever reason, not being able to handle the load and getting power back restored for people here in the Houston area. So we definitely, need you guys to pray for those that are without power, because obviously we're in the South and it's 90 to 98 degrees every day for the most part with high humidity, and a lot of people are really, really suffering here in Houston, man, right now. So we definitely want you guys to keep your thoughts and prayers with everyone here in the city. Yeah, definitely appreciate those prayers over Chicken, no doubt. My boy Floyd said Astros hot at the right time. Bye-bye, Lance McCullers. Yeah, we have about 4 injured pitchers right now. Lance McCullers, he's been off and on really since the 2022 season, and I don't expect him to come back. They shut him down again. So I think his career is pretty much over. He's just collecting a paycheck at this point. Over Chicken, let's see what he says. Said he doesn't work on weekends. Seattle's a 4-hour drive. So yeah, man, the Astros will be in town, I believe, next weekend. So you should get down there and check that one out if you have an opportunity. I want to close by talking about, and I definitely want to get you guys' thoughts if you're basketball fans, on the U.S. Olympic team. They beat Canada last night, but that wasn't the story. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard had to withdraw from the Olympic team due to his chronic knee injury in consultation with the U.S. Basketball Committee and with the LA Clippers. And everyone assumed that NBA Finals MVP and the second highest paid player in the NBA, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, would be the guy to replace him on the roster. Because like one gentleman said on, I think it was Seth Greenberg may have said today on ESPN, Jaylen Brown is like Kawhi Leonard 2.0 as far as being a two-way player, being able to defend at a high level, and still having a good offensive skill set on the other side. But they decided, Grant Hill and company decided to go with his teammate Derek White to be the Olympic replacement. And of course, there was a lot of discussion about him being left off the roster, not being on the Olympic team. And a lot of people, he himself, Jaylen Brown, suggested that it may have something to do with Nike, in a couple of tweets that he put out. But my question is, how does this affect the Boston Celtics going into next year? Because arguably their best player, second best player at worst, is not on the Olympic team, but 3 of his teammates are on the Olympic team. And even though this has nothing to do with the Boston Celtics had nothing to do with this decision, it does put that organization and Brad Stevens, the general manager, in a precarious situation when training camp starts in October, because you wonder what type of mood Jaylen Brown is going to come into next season with, knowing that his 3 teammates likely will be coming back with a gold medal from the Olympics and he was left off the team and didn't get to go, right? They all got to go to the championship parade or the championship party, the after party, and he was left out. He couldn't go. He was put on punishment for whatever reason. And that is going to be an interesting dynamic between Jaylen Brown and Derek White, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday also on the team. That could be something, if it's not handled properly by everyone involved, where that could be something that lingers into next year and could eventually fracture that team. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying Jaylen will hold any grudges against the guys on his team that went. But look, it's just human nature that if you know you're the best player on the team, or at worst, the second best player on the team, and you don't get to go compete for the nation's highest honor of winning and competing for a gold medal, and you have two teammates on that team who are not as good as you, but they do serve a purpose in their particular roles, it could have you feeling some kind of way. So I'm just saying, watch out for that next year with the Boston Celtics. Teams have to go through different levels of adversity, particularly when you come off winning a championship. So that's going to be something to watch as far as that goes. Overcheck it. They don't need more shooters, though. White is a great defender. Steve Kerr might like White in his system more than Brown would have. That's possible. That's possible. But Jaylen Brown is a hell of a defender, too. And to me, if you're replacing Kawhi Leonard, why not replace him with the next best thing to Kawhi Leonard, which is Jaylen Brown? It's not like you're replacing a role player. It's not like you're replacing Tyrese Halliburton. So if Tyrese Halliburton went down, I could see you saying, hey, we need another guard. So let's go get Derek White to fill that spot. I completely understand that. But when you're losing a wing defender like a Jaylen Brown, and we saw what he did to Luka Doncic in the finals, where he was peeling Luka Doncic at midcourt and D'ing him up left and right. I think the U.S. basketball committee is going to have some questions to answer. And they better not lose this gold medal. They definitely better not lose this gold medal. My boy, Floyd, Jaylen Brown is not affiliated with Nike, and that's the problem. He signed with Adidas. And that's what everybody is saying, is that it's a Nike thing. You know, Kyrie Irving had a problem with Nike because they let him go a couple of years ago, and many say that's why he wasn't on the team. And now Jaylen Brown, he's spoken out against Nike in the past, and they say that's why he's not on the team. And, you know, Grant Hill, you know, gave some, you know, coach speak and said that had nothing to do with it, and it was all about building a team. But it's just hard for me to believe that if, one, you add Kawhi Leonard to the roster to begin with, knowing his injury history, but you added him because he was a big physical wing defender, why wouldn't you replace him with another high-level, big physical wing defender if Nike didn't have anything to do with it? So just a little suspicious. Just a little suspicious. My boy Fled, it's not a problem for the Celtics. As usual, I'm blowing it up. I'm not blowing it up, bro. I'm just throwing it out there that it could be. It could be an issue. Not saying it will be, but hey, if you're Jaylen Brown and you see Drew Holiday and Derek White coming in with gold medals, you know what I'm saying? And at some point, there's going to be a three-way conversation in the locker room between those three guys about their experience in Paris, where they're just talking about the food. If they're talking about, hey, man, you remember that night we went out and we saw the Eiffel Tower? Or do you remember that time where we had a chance to go see Simone Biles perform? And man, that was cool that all of us got a chance to go see that. So it's not just about the experience of playing the game on the court. It's about the overall experience of being an Olympian and being able to share that experience with other Olympians. And when you take that opportunity away from the second best player on the team and arguably one of the top 15, one of the top 12 players in the NBA, that's where the issue that's where it can become an issue. So it's just like if you're the best employee at your company and there's an awards dinner and they're going to invite, okay, we're only going to take 5 guys. And you know you're one of the top 5 guys, but they take the 6th guy or the 7th guy and they don't take you. You're going to feel some type of way about that, especially after the fact when those guys come back and say, oh, man, we had a good time. You know, remember that? Remember this? Remember the food? Remember this experience? And you just sitting over there, oh, I ain't get to go. So let me go on over here and chill by myself. Or let me go on over here and chill with these other guys. Let me go hang out with Al Horford, you know, because we didn't get to go to the Olympics. You guys got to go to the Olympics. So that's where I'm just saying it's just something to watch out for. Canada can low-key win the gold too. I actually like the players they got. I think the problem with Canada is that they don't have any big men, right? They don't have anybody that can play with Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo. And even though we saw Joel Embiid foul out last night, they still had no one that could deal with Bam and Anthony Davis. So I think they're good on the perimeter. They have good wing players, and obviously SGA is an all-NBA MVP type candidate in and of itself. But I think the U.S. just has a little too much talent for Canada, and I think that showed last night. Now, again, that was just the first exhibition. Both of these teams have a long way to go as far as practice and gelling together and seeing how everything meshes. But I don't know if Canada is the team that can knock us off. Leonard should have never been there, nor should Embiid or LeBron or KD or AD. Wow, you don't want anybody on the team. Embiid, LeBron, KD, or AD. I'm not sure I can agree with that. Embiid was the best center in the NBA last season before he got hurt. And yes, that includes Joker. He was better than Joker last year before he got hurt. Now, if you want to talk about, is he a true American citizen? Well, he's an official U.S. citizen now. And we do remember that Akeem Olajuwon played on the U.S. Olympic team as well once he became a U.S. citizen. So as far as that goes, I think he deserves to be on the team. And look, he's the best big man that we have. He's better than Anthony Davis. He's better than Bam Adebayo when he's healthy. So I can't really agree with that. LeBron James and Kevin Durant, I mean, who are you going to replace him with? Are you going to put Jaylen Brown on there instead of Kevin Durant? I'd be okay with that. I mean, you know LeBron's going to be on the team. So, I mean, that's a no-doubter. But if you want to put Jaylen Brown on the team instead of Kevin Durant, I can't think of anybody else at the small forward or the big forward position that I would put on there instead of LeBron or KD, other than Jaylen Brown. So if you want to make that argument, you could definitely make that argument. None of the Houston Rockets are obviously contenders to be on this team. That's for doggone sure. So I can't really think of anybody else, that would replace those guys, unless you wanted somebody like a another role player like a Josh Hart, from the Knicks, who really played well during the finals. Kyrie, obviously, but he would be a guard that you would look to put on the team. Can't really think of another American player off the top of my head. De'Aaron Fox, but again, that's another guard. Most of our top American players are on the smaller stature, so that's how it goes with that. So just very interesting to see. I do want to see us play France, though, with Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama. It's going to be very interesting to see how we match up against France once we get to that point. But that's about it for the nights, guys. I just wanted to hop on real quick, of course, to talk about the Jamal Adams signing, and then talk a little bit about the Olympic basketball team. And, if all goes well, we hope to have my boy Floyd back live and in flesh and color on Sunday night when we come to you live. But we definitely want to thank you guys for chiming in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on your way out the door, and share the show out on your social media platform. So if there is nothing else tonight, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up really quick. And we definitely want to thank you guys that joined in. With a huge signing as Jamal Adams, 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, gives the Titans the makings of what could be the best secondary in the NFL. So, without further ado, I'm going to get out of here. Good night, Over Chicken. Good night to my boy Floyd, man. I hope you guys get some power soon. And my man says, go Mariners. All right, guys, let's go do it for me for tonight. Y'all have a good night. I'm out.